Yo, 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 yo. What is up? What is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy Tuesday. Today is gonna be a I'm spilling stuff over here I got on my side. Whoopsie. But today's gonna be a good show today. How's everybody doing today, man? Happy Tuesday. We're getting closer to hump day. The last week for most kids in school. We're rolling down to graduation week for most kids in high school. So yes, sir. To all the parents out there, shout out to you and shout out to y'all. And I need something to wipe up this mess I just made, but I don't have a napkin around here, but I'll get one in a minute whenever I start, getting stuff going. But anyway, man, today we got a good show lined up for y'all today, man. If y'all don't know, we are simultaneously streaming on 4 different platforms. We are on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble for sure. So if you got my link tree in any of my social media platforms, you can simply find where all of these are located for sure. And if you want to contribute to today's show, as you can see right here, you got the Cash App and the Venmo right there. Cash App Daniel2888 and the Venmo's Danny-Daniel-00 for sure to contribute to today's show. And if you are on any of those channels, specifically YouTube, do me a favor, hit the like button that you see right there. Hit that like button to get the algorithm out, show some support, and show some love. Is greatly appreciated, of course. And today we got an interesting show for you today, man. We got some interesting stuff going on for you today as we're going to show you today. We're going to go over our 4 topics. It's going to be fitness, the economy, and AI for sure. There's a lot of interesting things going on that's been happening and that you need to know about as far as these topics go. As far as fitness goes, we're going to talk about the real reason why fitness has gotten so freaking expensive. Jesus. Yes. It has been getting more expensive lately, as far as, some people say or some people go. I usually try to keep it the natural route, but yes, fitness is expensive as far as the protein powders and creatines and pre-workouts and all that stuff. Over the years, this stuff has gotten expensive. So for sure, we're going to dive in and take a look at that and see what's going on. I'm going to watch a video from Coach Colton, Fair Use, and we're going to check it out and kind of review the video that he has speaking on that particular topic. It's going to be interesting one to go over. Then we're going to move on to the economy portion of the show, which we're then going to talk about the economy. The economy. We're going to talk about the theory of banking. Yes, what is a theory of banking? And it's going to be called a theory for sure because, you can't take anything of it for truth, even though some of it may or may not make sense. But we're going to tap in and look at the history of banking and see how banking works and what the real reason of banking is. What are some theories placed on behind banking that has to do with, may I say, control? Yes, could be how things are ran and what does it do and how deep does banking go? How deep does it go? How deep does the rabbit hole of banking go? And what can you learn when you understand banking or hear about a theory of banking that might just get you to think and try to figure out if this is true or not? So we're going to check that out for sure. Excuse me. I don't know where that came from. I guess drink went down the wrong pipe. But anyway, last but not least, then we have the AI portion of the show. And that one we're going to go over. Yeah, that was an accident. But we're going to go over, which is the Fivver. So Fivver, if you don't know, is a freelance platform, basically. And the CEO of Fivver, who sent out an email or whatever and mentioned to all his employees, he said, pretty soon, AI will be coming for your job. He tells his own employees. Yes. So with that being said, we're going to dive into that and see exactly what it is that he's talking about and what's going on as far as why is Fivver the platform for freelancers where you can find video editing and web designs and coding and photographers and videographers and all sorts of freelance work, side hustle work and side hustle gigs and things like that. AI is coming for that. That's what the Fivver CEO said. So we're going to look into see exactly what's going on with that. And hopefully, the people at Fivver, hopefully they don't have to face that fate. But with AI on the brink, we're just going to see how that goes. Yes, we are. All right. So with that being said, we got everything lined up for today's show. We got a good one in tune for you today. So we're going to go ahead and get straight to the very first topic of today's show, which is going to be the fitness portion of the show. And we are going to look at the reasons why fitness is getting so expensive. And we're going to go ahead and pull this up on screen and get this started for you because, what else is there to do? Let's get started. We're here early in the morning today, at least as the earliest we've been so far. We got 10 a.m. in the central, 11 a.m. on the eastern side, and 8 a.m. on the west coast. So yeah, so we got pretty decent time today. So we're gonna have a pretty nice little good old time today. So let's go ahead and get to the first portion of the show that we have for you today. Let's see what we got. Where is it at? Okay, so right here, let me go ahead and hit this refresh button before anything else, because usually we'll be in the middle of a video and then boom, they hit us with an ad. So we got to go ahead and get these out the way for you real quick, because they're going to hit us over the head with those, which is going to suck. Oh man, and they gave us 2 this time around. But anyway, so we're going to check out why fitness is getting so expensive. As you're going to, I think he's going to compare prices from the year 2019, which 2019 is 6 years ago at this point. So over half a decade. So if you think about it, half a decade time has passed. Yeah, things are going to change abruptly. Prices are not always going to stay the same from 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 10 years ago. We're coming up on another 10-year break. So from 2019 to 2029, I mean, it's not that far away as far as, time goes. So if you're looking at a 6-year time difference and looking at the astronomical increase in prices, he's going to go ahead and point that out. So we got everything set up for you. So let me go ahead and fix the screen real quick before we get started on this first video by Coach Colton, fair use. Let me pull him up on the screen, and you might, let's change that banner real quick. Banner changed. All right. So banner changed, and we're going to go get this video started. You might see my webcam pop off. I just went to go get a towel or a napkin or something real quick to clean up this mess I made, which I'm gonna get this taken care of real quick. But in the meantime, let's get this video started and see exactly why fitness is getting so expensive. So fair use, let's go. Here we go.
How pricey fitness has become lately. Just about everything. It seems as 2025 begins to eclipse the horizon, things are only going to get more expensive. So let's just doom and gloom together and have a bit of fun, shall we? And to start this video off nice and easy, let's talk about protein powder. Do you remember the cost of protein powder in 2019, which to me doesn't seem that long ago? I understand it's nearing 6 years ago at this point, but it really doesn't feel like it. But just think about it. Do you remember the price? So on average in 2019, a 5-pound tub of Optimum Nutrition whey protein sold for a mere $30 to $35 on Amazon. Other brands like Dymatize and Muscle Tech ranged anywhere from $25 to $40, depending on what sales were available at that point. And MTS Protein, Mark Lobliner's brand of whey protein, which I used the Wayback Machine to go through his old school Tiger Fitness page, was $43.99 for 5 pounds in 2020. Now the prices in 2025 in comparison will...
Hold on, before we get started on what he's talking about, if you watch my last video that I did, which was, I believe it was Friday, we did a video Friday, and it showed how whey protein was made. Now that video right there, if you take whey protein, then you watch that video, man, oh man, let me tell you, when I tell you how whey protein is made, I mean, first of all, whey protein starts with the cow, so it comes from a cow basically, and then they put a coagulant inside of it to make it thicker, and then they run it through some kind of process to where it gets thicker, and they make cheese out of one portion of it, and another portion they end up making whey protein powder. So if you see how that stuff is made, you probably I don't even see why the price went up. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's crazy. But if you see how it's made, you'll probably be like, you know what, I could actually do without this for sure. But anyway, let's continue. Just go watch that video. It's even in the thumbnail, how whey protein is made. Sit down and watch that. That is ill.
Will absolutely floor you. Optimum Nutrition, the brand we just spoke about, yeah, their 5-pound tubs are about $85 to $90.
I use Optimum Nutrition for their creatine, so shout out to them, even though they don't give me a shout out back on social media.
Inflation included in this adjustment, that's about a 42% increase in total price. And going
42% increase? What is? I think, like you said, he's going from 2019, so 42% increase is 2019. Well, since 2019, I could say some things that went up 100%, 110%. Like, what is it? Tostitos pizza, Tony's Tostitos pizza, whatever. They used to be 99 cents. Now they're $2. 100%.
2025 on Tiger Fitness. Mark Lowbliner's brand, MTS, doesn't seem to be in stock, so I think he must have stopped producing it. I don't know. But the next brand that he's involved with is GAF Whey. I don't know what that means. Do you know what the GAF means?
Gay as fuck.
I'm sure it means something perverted if I remember correctly. But whatever, it's his new whey protein.
You guys
Oh, that was funny.
are gay as fuck.
Yeah, so the 2-pound tub is now the price of the 5-pound tub in 2020. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's actually crazy.
How much was it?
In 2020. 2-pound tub is now the price of the 5-pound tub in 2020. That tub
The
is
2-pound
now
tub.
the price of the
The 2-pound tub is now the price of the 5-pound tub in 2020. Wow, that's crazy.
5-pound tub
Dang.
in 2020. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's actually crazy. But far from the end of inflation of fitness, trust me. Gym memberships, they're something you can't go without. You have to have one to go to the gym, train your muscles, and get huge. This is the idea.
That is not true. That is not true. What you could do is you could go onto yours truly, DLA Fitness, on my YouTube channel. Click the video tab. We got video workouts for you at home. So in case you can't get to the gym or in case another pandemic happens to hit the surface, I got you. We got you taken care of for sure. You can get all your workouts in: push day, pull day, back day, leg day, chest day, core day, ab day, whatever day you need to get in. You can do it with dumbbells or no weights at all. And we'll also show you the sponsorship of our show. Thank you.
The evolution of the gym rat. You have to have the gym membership. Now, you could be fortunate enough to have your nice little home gym, but many...
And there they go. They got us. They struck. They struck with the ad. Oh my goodness. And it won't quit making noise. Oh, there we go. There we go. We got that taken care of quickly. All right. Sorry about that, man. They trying to get us. They trying to get us.
Gym. You have to have the gym membership. Now, you could be fortunate enough to have your nice little home gym, but many, or I guess not all of us, are that fortunate.
If you don't have a home gym, just find you some dumbbells, man. You can find dumbbells anywhere for sure, or you can go to wealthofwellness.co and get you some neoprene dumbbells on that website for sure, and get you whatever you need. Wealthofwellness.co.
So how much have they increased over time? Well, according to IHRSA in 2020, the economic report, gym memberships averaged out at about $40 to $45 a month, not including gyms like Planet Fitness, which were always and still are $10 a month. But that's their business model. They basically get everybody in, but never cancel their memberships, so they just ever long pay for $10 a month memberships. But now, folks,
It's actually a good idea.
taking the average calculation of local gyms or gyms that I've been to within the past 12 months, the average gym membership is somewhere between $70 to $95 as of 2025. If we account for the inflation of the US dollar,
The average gym membership is $70 to $95. Oh man, Jesus. Yeah, I guess they're right.
that's still a 40% increase in the cost per month. And you might be asking yourself, Colton, why the hell are you getting this hair up your ass? Because I have a lot of hairs up my ass, quite frankly, and they're really annoying. If I had some kind of shaver thing that I could plug in right now, I would. It doesn't really fit because I don't have one. So the best thing you could do is actually subscribe to this channel. I'm trying to get to 20K subscribers, and you might just be the we get paid. Trying to get past the hump. If everyone who watched this video, free reason, spend shit tons of money and you feel robbed after it. Well, I wanted to buy some things like everybody else. It's kind of like a shopping fest. You walk around, you buy some goods, you leave. It's great. You spend shit tons of money and you feel robbed after it. Well, I needed a pair of shorts, and I wanted some really cool ones because all the kids are wearing these really great graphic shorts, and I got no fucking idea where to find them. So I walk up to a vendor, and I look at some shorts, and I like
What we got?
them. I thought they were really cool. And then I saw the price tag, which was $65.
Dang, $65 for some gym shorts. I mean, yeah, man. That's just what it is at this point. You know what I mean? You just pay out the wazoo for whatever it is you need. Everybody's getting, they're just making things so expensive because the have and the have-nots, if you can afford it, cool, because you're not going to complain if you can afford it. But if you can't afford it, they're like, well, I mean, hey, we're trying to put you in. I mean, it's economic warfare. That's all this is. We are dealing with an economic warfare. If you can't see it, you need to do some research and understand it, because you think about warfare, you think about World War I with, like things dropping from the sky going kaboom and skitty pow pows, they go pew, 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 things like that. But That's one way to have warfare, but then there's another way to have warfare that actually wages war on. It can be anybody, and as we're seeing, we're dealing with it. And in the president even actually mentioned it. He said economic warfare is the way he was going to happen. He was going to do things. So if you know the economic warfare is going on, you should understand every day when you wake up, you are at risk of something happening. Like you are in a situation to where your life is in jeopardy, and that's what we're seeing. It's a slow burn. People don't see it as anything because they wake up and everything, but no, it's a slow burn, and it's going to just get its grips tighter and tighter like a snake when it constricts you. But yeah, pay attention.
For like 5-inch inseam shorts. Those were the like cheaper ones. There was more expensive ones that were premium quality. Yet people were lined up nut to butt out the door and back again.
Oh, bro,
to
pause.
Get some
Come
for
on,
themselves.
fam. Really?
All just to have some company's logo on you when you can honestly buy this shit from Alibaba for $5. Look, I remember back when I started.
Hey, he's speaking truth on that one.
To train, and I was like buying gym clothes because I just started to become a gym bro. But back then I was in the military in a really sweet position, making way too much money for my age. It was actually stupid. I was making like 6 figures when I was 20. It was dumb. But I still felt like that was, you know, pretty expensive clothing. I was spending a lot of money on it. Now it feels like everything got more expensive, but the income doesn't really change that much. So I wanted to find out, like, am I delusional? Am I just making things up? Did I just not care about how much I was spending because I was younger back then? So I used the loyal Wayback Machine. Once again, I looked at Gymshark's catalogs of clothing from 2019 and a little bit beyond just to see where we're at. And guess what the average price for shorts was after I collected all of the prices for shorts, men's shorts, and averaged them out?
What
It's
we got?
almost exactly $25.
20
pair of shorts. You can see here they have a different assortment of some. They have some that are more expensive for sure. They're just more of the premium quality. They'll be like $30 as compared to $20, but somewhere around there. Now, of course, you probably know just as well as me that we're far, far past that point.
We're far, far past that. That is 100% increase for sure, just like I mentioned earlier. I mentioned the Tostitos pizza. Yeah, those were 99 cents. They're $2 now for sure. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's calling it out too. There's 100% increase on everything. Everything.
But before I get into the cost, the physiques have inflated too. So when I show you this picture that's about to come up, realize the legs of the models compared to the legs of the models from 2019. This is like actually mind-blowing. Okay, so check this out. This is the 2025 version of their catalog. I just opened up the webpage, took some screenshots. All the homies got fucking yoked ass legs, which is crazy because in the 2019 edition, first of all, none of them did. The inflation of physiques is a very real thing. 18-year-olds are now 240 pounds ripped. It's crazy. But you can also see that the average prices are anywhere from $48 to $50 for a really basic pair of shorts that don't really have that crazy stuff attached to them. They're not that great. They're just basic shorts. They're sweat shorts, like gray sweat shorts for $50. Well, and by the way, these aren't the premium shorts. These are the cheap ones. The more expensive premium options are closer to $60. And then, of course, you pay for shipping, taxes, all that stuff on top of it because shipping isn't free unless you spend $100. Yeah, you're spending much more than $60. And again, charging $56 for something that you can likely buy from Alibaba, deriving itself from China for a few bucks, kind of crazy. And not only that, but food. Healthy food costs an arm and a leg. It will rip half your soul out. That is true.
That is very true. Healthy, eating healthy. I remember one thing that has went up a whole lot astronomically is ground beef. Man, ground beef has went up so much. It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. But hey, it is what it is. This is how they play the game. This is how things roll. So you either roll with it or get rolled over. You can't complain. You just got to adjust.
Eat like a healthy individual these days. And living in Thailand for as long as I did really taught me kind of how fake the groceries are in America, because the prices are honestly sometimes 1/4 of what they are here in America for the same things, especially meat, which just it blows my mind. And I'm not the only one catching on to how ridiculously foods are priced in America, specifically healthy foods, grass-fed.
Wait, what did he say about Thailand?
Which is just horrible these days. And living in Thailand for as long as I did really taught me kind of how fake the groceries are in America. Because the prices are honestly sometimes 1/4 of what they are here in America for the same things, especially meat.
That may be a good idea.
Blows my mind. And I'm not the only one catching
look that
on
up.
to how ridiculously foods are priced in America, specifically healthy foods, grass-fed foods, beef, eggs, and salads.
I've been following you since I read the book.
I mean, she got a deep voice, whoever the hell she is. But anyhow, oh crap, where's my thing? There it is. Yeah, so he's talking about living in Thailand. I don't know when he lived in Thailand, so he didn't specify that exactly when he moved, whenever he lived in Thailand, which would be interesting to know for however long that he did stay in Thailand. So that would be something very important to take note to when he said when he lived in Thailand or whatever, when he went to Thailand, or hopefully that was recent, within like 24, 25, to get a accurate statement on it, as opposed to being like something he did back when he was in the military when he was 20. You know what I mean? So, but true, when he says that food has gotten hell of a lot expensive, man. I know that ground beef has went up a lot. I mean, everything has went up. Everything's went up 100%. That's my synopsis. Everything has went up 100%. From 2019 to now, there's been a 100% increase on everything. I don't care what nobody says. You can find something and say, okay, if it's not 100%, it's 80. That's still, I might as well just round that up, because it's just what it is. It's where we're at. And then I don't know if the he's saying like with the Alibaba stuff, you can get stuff on Alibaba for a whole lot cheaper. However, I wonder if the tariffs at this point has made a huge impact on doing that. I wonder if that actually has like changed that at some point. But interesting to see. But let's continue, because he's back on the screen, or at least somebody else is talking on the screen, and this guy's gonna explain to you why it's so expensive to be fit. So let's check this part out right here.
America, explain me one thing that I don't understand.
Eggs and salads.
Okay, America, explain me one thing that I don't understand. Why, if you want to be fit, everything's so expensive? A salad, $21. You go get a burger, everything's super large. Large French fries, super large Coke, $8. Doesn't make any sense. Now, when I go to the store to buy groceries, everything that is organic is so expensive. I really don't understand. Now explain me this. A salad is more expensive than a burger in a fast food place. It doesn't make any sense at all.
It does make sense. I mean, you're just not choosing to believe the sense that's being made. They don't want you to be fit. That's quite it. And if they can make you broke and eat shit, then therefore they got you. There's no rocket science behind it. I don't understand why he's saying it doesn't make sense. It does make sense. If somebody's trying to put their foot in your ass, the best way to do it is to overprice them on the things that would keep them healthy and think and keep their mind thinking sharp and keep their gut at a healthy level, versus giving them cheap shit that'll screw up their gut, which will mess up their mental, which will make it harder for them to get out of a circumstance that they don't want to be in. Simple.
Just lettuce is $10, $12, and a burger, $6.
I mean, you could have made that lettuce at home. You chose to be there and spend $12 on lettuce, so that's your fault.
Something's wrong. Guys, I'm trying to be fit and healthy. Your health is more important.
It's really tough for us gym rats who want to train our ass off, get fucking massive, and look great. And if you're into steroids, that's also becoming wildly expensive. We'll leave that topic out of this video. Okay, I won't leave that topic
That makes sense.
completely out. Let's actually talk about it. So I did the math, and prices in my emails from back way when, mind you, I was living in other countries where it was legal, right? So, you know, but back way when, okay? Way, 2019. This is mind-blowing. The prices have basically doubled, almost exactly doubled in just about every kind of pharmaceutical that you would need to be a bodybuilder professionally. Double, which is crazy. And you're all going to say, we use steroids. Oh. I don't do this anymore, okay? I was a professional bodybuilder. I am a professional bodybuilder. The title's mine, but I'm done doing that. So there's that, okay? It's out the window. I train bodybuilders. If you're interested, links are down below. But this isn't all, because the tariff situation, which we're about to encounter, might just be staggering in how much it impacts prices even further. I don't care what political party you're in, because it's indifferent to me. One thing that is absolute, that you cannot deny, whatever party, I don't give a shit what party you're in.
Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States.
Things are getting more expensive by a large margin. So let's cut the bullshit here. Fitness ain't just no grind in the gym anymore, where you kind of have that dog mentality. You spend hours in the gym and you just hope for the best. You're the bum in the gym. No, you have to have a full-time job no matter what, because to even afford going to the gym costs a motherfucking arm and a leg. Protein has doubled in price. Gyms are robbing you practically every single month, and that isn't even including gym enhancement fees, where they increase the price for that 1 month out of the year by, who knows, $100 in some cases, or the administrative fees that you have to pay when you sign on, which are also several $100s often. And not even there, that does, you want to wear clothes to the gym that are nice and reputable and people recognize or think look.
Oh my goodness, they're killing me today with these things, man, for sure. But that is true. What he's saying is true. I mean, I give him whoopsies. I give him credit for that one. That for sure is true. So yeah, I mean, just going to the gym and just trying to maintain being healthy and fit, just doing the whole gym thing is, I mean, you can't escape the economics of life. That's the silent killer. And that goes all the way back to the Bible. The Bible tries to teach you not to be in debt. Stay out of debt. Don't be in debt to others, because then it makes you a slave. That's where we're at. We are in a situation where being in debt to people, and people are trying to enslave you in the nicest shape form possible. But the enslavement is coming from the rich and the poor. It has nothing to do with good character. It's either you're rich or you're poor. Your character, that has nothing to do with nothing. It's like, look, you either got it or you don't. Even if you're a good person, who cares? You're broke. That's where we're at. So, harsh reality of life.
You're down $60 for one pair of shorts, but you want to wear different shorts, right? You want to wear 7 different shorts for 7 different days or something like that. Well, you're down a couple hundred, buddy. Meanwhile, the physiques on Instagram, well, they're just flexing on you with sponsorships that you'll likely never get, because you aren't taking these steroids and all of the other shit that they're taking as well. Not even Alex Eubank could keep up. He had to hop on this Azul as well just to stay even par with some of these guys. But this is the game now. We have to play it no matter what. I could argue about it all day long. We can doom and gloom all up in this bitch, but we have to be honest. There's nothing we can really do to influence the U.S. economy. So you have to adapt. And how best can you do that? Well, stop buying into the hype. And really, this is the whole point of the video. You don't need the fanciest shorts or the coolest shirts to go to the gym. You need a wife beater from Hanes and a good pair of shorts from Walmart. That's like all I ever wear. Don't buy the supplements, make your own. Or just don't buy them, period. I've talked about this so many times, but like many data has been released to show that multivitamins don't improve mortality rates or cause of any kind of death. So like CBD-related deaths doesn't do anything. Fish oil, in the long term, doesn't seem to do anything for the reduction of mortality risk. So it's kind of these weird abstract thoughts that I have. It's where I don't really think supplements are going to be the needle mover for you in terms of any kind of physique enhancement or progress. You're probably just better off, if you want to get supplements, make your own, because it's really easy to buy the raw ingredients and then just mix them up if you have somewhat of a know-how. And to be honest, you don't even need to do this most of the time. Just go to the fucking gym. And those Alibaba shorts that are being charged 300% more than they were bought for, just skip it, dude. You don't need it. Just because someone put a fancy logo or graphics on something doesn't make it that crazy unique or somehow a status symbol. And if the people around you believe that status symbol, deuces, homie. Look, man, I'll be so honest right now.
There you go.
I make stupid money doing what I do as a coach. Like, and it's not millions. I'm not Wes Watson or anything like that. I'm not driving around Bugattis, but I've never thought I would make this much money as a person before. And I still live the lifestyle of wearing motherfucking wife beaters to the gym from Hanes, wearing my Walmart branded
Just keep it simple.
Having ass Walmart shorts, like I don't care. I wear sandals to the gym. Okay, it doesn't.
Okay, really, I don't do that.
My life doesn't hinge hinge on impressing somebody at the gym. I
Can't wear sandals to the gym, bro. You gotta have on some tennis shoes of some sort, even if they like shoes from Academy. You gotta have some tennis shoes on. Come on now. You can't go into the... I see people in the gym in Crocs. I'll be like, bruh.
would rather just look good and feel good. And honestly, the gym is somewhere where I can release the psychosis that I have deep within me. So it's just a nice relief. It's not something that I'm trying to make a fashion show. You can also stop using the supplements. Stop using whey protein. Just buy whole sources of food. Just buy protein from the actual animal, brother. Or you could just buy all of the material goods that has made this industry or you could just buy all the material goods that have made fitness a $255 billion industry within the United States alone. So, I don't know, keep feeding the beast, I guess. In fact, we could all come together as a collective and make a decentralized brand. We'll call it Red Pill, and it's going to sell all fitness goods, supplements, clothing, and everything else. They're not going to have crazy labels or anything like that, and the production of them is going to be good enough to be very valuable in the sense of what you're actually getting, but it's going to be at a low cost, and then we'll just sell it and make no money and take the market over, probably. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just YouTube thinks you'll like this video. Go to that one before I embarrass myself.
Hey, well, shout out to him for that very last little pep talk. He has a point, though. He does have a point. Shout out to him. Yeah, buddy. I don't know why this is so big. Pause. But he does have a point, though. Yes, things are super expensive. Things are crazy, crazy expensive. I mean, it is what it is, though. What can you do about it? You know, you have to just roll with it and, like, live with it and deal with the situation at hand because... yeah, I mean, everything is pricing up. And if you're not moving, hustling, grinding, trying to do something to better yourself in some shape, form, or fashion, because at the end of the day, people do feel comfortable in their jobs, but jobs are being taken over. Jobs are being, jobs are being grabbed. Jobs are being had. And you're seeing older people go back into work and work their regular jobs, and younger people not used to how the older people understood working a job their whole life. But eventually those jobs are going to go away. So yeah, just in the fitness realm, personally, being in fitness, man, it as time progresses, it does get more expensive to stay fit and stay healthy. So it requires a simple sort of know-how to figure out how can I keep this simple as you possibly can. If you're not able to keep up, with eggs are super expensive, and like eggs is usually a big part of, eating healthy in fitness. At least some people like to use eggs. You can boil them, scramble them, whatever, but they're like a good source of protein. Your meat, steak and chicken and ground beef. Ground beef is going up like crazy, but it's chicken. But then after a while, you try to change it up a little bit, but a lot of the times, I think one of the big issue that people have is that people don't know how to cook, to be quite honest with you. Not really many people cook anymore. Everybody kind of relies on these services, these to-go services and things like that to get them some food. And yeah, they're going to cost you an arm and leg trying to always get food from someone else, because you're paying for a chef to cook your food, whatever container that's plastic, got all sorts of plastic, BPAs all up inside of your plastic and all that stuff, the container, then the delivery, like all that stuff costs if you just go and do it yourself. But we live in a world now where it's like people don't want to go out and get anything for themselves. They're just kind of like, it'll come to me, I'll just sit here and wait, which is not a bad thing, but that's like a luxury awarded to those who can afford to basically employ all of those people to do that work for them. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like how you have to look at it. And if you're able to employ all these people to do this work for you, that's good. That's great. That's fantastic. If you're not, cut back on some things. Go grab your food, but then you got gas. But all this stuff plays in a big part. But just trying to stay healthy and fitness, man, it does get a little tedious. It does get a little, out of hand at times. But you got to just stick with it, roll with it. Understand times change, grinds change, and you got to figure out what you're going to do with yourself and what you're going to do with your grind. That's really all of it. There's really not much you can really kind of worry about. You got to really just keep it moving and don't get defeated, because once you get defeated, it's over. You lose. You know what I mean? Once you get that defeated feeling inside of you, stress is going to hit you. That's going to hinder your gains, and you're working out. You're going to feel overwhelmed and all this stuff, and you can't let that get to you. You gotta find a plan, stick to it, and just hammer at it and just keep going and keep pushing. Keep pushing. You know what I mean? Give me a round of applause. Yeah, buddy. Alrighty, so next, what is it? Not segment. Next clip of the show we're gonna have for you. We're gonna go over a portion of the body, one of the systems in the body. What we're gonna go over and talk about, since if you kind of know your body, it's something that's very interesting. I think everybody should know and everybody should understand their body within itself, how it works, what it does, you know, your bones, how many bones you have, or your muscles, what your muscles do, and the different systems, the nervous and circulatory and all these different ones, right? So I always try to take it upon myself to kind of enlighten thee, to kind of see what it is inside of us that makes us tick and do what we do. And today, the system we're going to go over is the circulatory system. That's right. We're going over the circulatory system today. And I'm going to go ahead and play this video by a particular YouTube people named Ken Hub, fair use. I'm going to let the video play as I read over the understandings of the circulatory system. So we might not match as it goes, but just listen, and I'm just going to read off exactly what the circulatory system is and how it works and functions and stuff like that, and have this video playing for you so you can kind of get a visual as to how it looks and what's going on and what's being talked about, so you just won't be completely like out the loop or whatnot. So let me go ahead and get this pulled up for you on your screen real quick. We got it right there. Let's see here. We got the circulatory system. So I'm going to go ahead and run this video, be on mute, and I'm going to go ahead and read this off. So we have the circulatory system, also known as the cardiovascular system, or Larry system, is responsible for transporting blood, oxygen, nutrients, and hormones and waste products throughout the body. It plays a vital role in maintaining homeostasis and supporting cellular function. That is correct. That is correct. And also, move this out the way, the main components are the heart. The heart is a muscular organ that pumps blood throughout the body. It has 4 chambers. You have the right atrium, the right atrium, the right ventricle, the left atrium, the left ventricle. The right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the body. The right ventricle pumps it to the lungs. The left atrium receives oxygenated blood from the lungs. The left ventricle pumps it to the body. All right, so we have blood vessels. You got your arteries. They carry oxygen, rich blood away from the heart, except pulmonary artery. Then we have veins. They carry oxygen, they carry oxygen, pour blood toward the heart, except pulmonary vein. And then you have the capillaries, the tiny vessels where gas and nutrients exchange occur between blood and tissues. Then we have blood. You got red blood cells that carry oxygen using hemoglobin. Then we have white blood cells that fight infections. Then we have the platelets, which help with clotting. Then we have plasma. It's a liquid component carrying nutrients, hormones, and waste. All right. So then we have the types of circulations. The different type of circulations that we do have is going to be the systematic circulation, which is going to be blood flows from the heart to the rest of the body and back. Then you have it delivers oxygen and nutrients and removes waste. Then you have the pulmonary circulation, which blood flows from the heart to the lungs and back, and then it exchanges carbon dioxide for oxygen. Then you have the coronary circulation, supplies the heart muscles itself with oxygenated blood. Okay. And then functions of the circulatory system are going to be transport oxygen and nutrients to the cells, removes carbon dioxide and metabolic waste. It distributes hormones and enzymes. It regulates body temperatures and pH. And then it also protects the body through immune responses and clotting. Yes, that is exactly it. That's what we have right here with the cardiovascular system, aka the circulatory system. So your heart is a very, 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 it actually has a electrical component to it as well. I mean, that's why they use the little bitty, the little clear things on you to try to jumpstart your heart or whatever. Your heart is really a really powerful thing. It's a muscle. It, carries oxygen, carries blood to the body. It can, it has a wonders of different things. It takes deoxygenated blood, makes it oxygenated, basically, and it takes carbon dioxide. It does all these things. It's a very, very powerful tool and very, very powerful component that is constantly at work. It never stops. Like if you were to not eat, your body wouldn't metabolize as hard You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't metabolize as hard because you're not putting food in it, as opposed to it would still metabolize, but it would pick what is going to metabolize and it won't be working as hard as it would. Because, you know, if you eat a lot of food, that feeling you get when you're just tired and you just like pass out and fall asleep, well, your heart does not get that break at all. Your heart just goes and 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 goes. That's just what it does. And it's an amazing thing if you ever were to sit down and research it and understand exactly all that it does. All right. Alrighty. So that is going to be the understanding for the circulatory system, but we're going to sit down and we're going to take a look at what a circulatory system looks like if it was taken out of the body. So, you know, like people who donate their bodies or whatever, you have those people who donate their bodies and they kind of, I guess you could say they dissect the bodies for, you know, like to do research upon them and stuff like that. And I didn't know they went this deep, but they'll take your nervous system out. They take your circulatory system out. They take your veins and arteries out and then like lay it down. I mean, it's like, to think like how that had to be done is pretty gruesome. Like whoever does that, ew. Like, wow. Like you have to be, I mean, I don't know. Like, sheesh. Like to think somebody sat down and just tore somebody's body up like that. And, yeah, can't really. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at somebody's circulatory system and see it laid out on a table. And this one, usually I say it's not that bad, but this one I'm going to have to honestly be like, yeah, this one's pretty gross. I'm going to have to call a spade on this one. This one's pretty nuts. So I'm going to have to just be honest with you. It's just a short, so you're going to see like two of them, but yeah, fair use to this one. This is orbit muscle. So it's not Anatomy Labs. Usually they're the ones that come through in the clutch for stuff like this, but I couldn't find none. So we're going to check it out and see what it looks like. So not going to look at it too much, but yeah, this is what a real body circulatory system looks like. So let's go ahead and check it out. I will play the music, but it's the gorilla. So there you have it right there. You know what I mean? When it's taken out. Pretty intense. Yeah, buddy. Let's see. Now, all of them aren't real. Clearly, because, you know, one's walking the hole in groceries, but this gives you an idea what the circulatory system looks like as far as it going through your body and your veins and everything like that, to see how the heart pushes blood and oxygen to everything in your body, to see the huge impact that it has. So once again, that's it right there. And just to think, like, if somebody who actually sat down and did this, I'm just like, bruh, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Ugh. All right, that's enough of that. We don't want to see no more of that. Let's go ahead and get that off the screen. Jesus. But just to let you know, y'all, that is the understanding, and that is going to be your circulatory system. Yes. And here's a little video to show you exactly how this works. So, for example, let me read this to you again. So you have the right atrium and the right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. So then the right atrium, it receives deoxygenated blood from the body, and the right ventricle pumps it to the lungs. Then you have the left atrium, which receives oxygenated blood from the lungs, and then the left ventricle pumps it to the body. So of course the red is going to be the blood, the blue is going to be the oxygen, as you can see. So if you see oxygen, just know that's going to be your right atrium. And then if you see anything in red, that's going to be the left. So basically the right side is oxygen, the left side is blood, basically, is the best way to understand it. So that's what you're seeing right here, which is pretty interesting to see how it's working and all that good stuff. As you can see, the flow of the human body from left, the anatomy of the right and left heart ventricle. So that's going to be it right there. All right, let me go ahead and pull that back down. Jesus. Oh, wait, where's my stuff? There we go. Get that out the way. I might have found one more video. I'm kind of interested in this. Oh man, we can't show this one. Oh, that's intense. Okay, I see what they did. That's not a real body. I thought that was a real body they were showing. That's like a diagram or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, that's it for that right there for sure. And that's just how the circulatory system works. Yes. So in case you were wondering how that works, there it is. You got a full rundown. The more you know. All right, so now we're going to get into today's sponsor of the show. And today's sponsor is going to be none other than yours truly. Yeah, buddy. Oh, man. Give him a round of applause. Shout out to the sponsor. Yeah. Oh, man. There you go. There you have it. Look at him. Yes, if you ever need to get a workout in, you're a busy professional traveling, or you're just a person traveling with the wife, kids, fam, or whatever it is that you're doing, or you're just rolling solo. You're just enjoying life solo. You don't want to go into the gym. You don't have a gym. Or you just want to get the workout in somewhere peacefully where nobody can bother you, man. I have you right here taken care of. We got you for sure. Just go to the D. Elliott Fitness YouTube and go to the video portion tab and sit down, click. We got push workouts, back workouts, legs, core, abs, whatever it is that you need. We have the workouts for you here that'll get you right, get you going, and you will feel something as long as you have, really, you can do your body weight or have some dumbbell weights that are suitable for you. Don't go too light if you have dumbbells, but don't go too heavy either, because you might find yourself in some issues. But just know that you will feel a good workout. You will get a pump, because we don't do too many rest breaks in between sets. So you'll feel yourself constantly going and going and going and going. You will break a sweat. You will be tired at the end of one of those workouts, just as long as you use either some dumbbells or if you use your body weight and push yourself, because we just keep going and going and going. So yeah, man, that is it right there. We got the workouts in for you. So feel free to hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel, hit the like button and all that. We just had a video drop this week. We're going to have one drop here shortly this week, if not the early next week. We're going to keep them coming. We keep them pumping at all times, man. So yes, go ahead and support the channel on the video tab for D. Elliott Fitness on YouTube. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes. All right, so for the next portion of the show, we're going to slide over to the next segment. The next segment of the show is going to be the economy. Yes, we are going to talk about the economy, because it's like you can't escape it anymore. You can't escape the economy if you tried. You see, fitness was talking about the economy. You know, fitness was like, hey, man, it's not the same trying to get in shape. It's expensive to stay in shape. It's expensive to eat healthy. It's expensive to take whey protein powder. The price doubled. It's expensive to get buff. It's expensive to buy clothes to look nice. It's expensive for everything in fitness. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, you're going to feel the expenses at all times. You are going to feel the pain when you get to that cash register, or when you press your credit card, or when you press your debit card, or when you press the card that you scam somebody using. Yeah. So now we're going to get the understanding of banking. What is the theory of banking? Because banking runs everything. I don't know if you know this, but banking runs everything. Did you know that when you go to court, technically the situation you're dealing with is banking? Yeah, it goes that deep. But let's go ahead and look at the theory of banking. We have a video by, Jared Boosters? Is that correct? Yes. And we're going to use fair use on him, and we're going to check out this video to see exactly what his theory is on this banking, to see if there's any truth in this. Is he telling the truth? Is it a lie? What is it? We're going to find out, because it's a beautiful thing when you understand what is going on in the world that you live in, because you understand it's one big game, and it's designed to break you, not make you. But it can make you if you don't let it break you. There you go. Words to live by. So let's go ahead and get this video started and get this video on the roll. Yes, the theory of banking. So let's go ahead and pull this up. I'm going to give us a history of how banking works and a theory of what it could be. And sometimes these theories might sound truthful, but again, they're theories because of that fact. They sound truthful. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this video started. Fair use.
Howdy y'all, welcome back. To understand the growth of the old world, to witness the systems, values, the spectacles of industry and inheritance, which shape the most profound reaches of society, to know the constructs that held our ancestors in place, only begins to illuminate the darkness that surrounds most major historical narratives. Much akin to similar videos I've made on other subject matter, I will preface this by letting you know that everything in today's video is only a theory. Granted, we will examine numerous historical narratives, if only briefly, using them as a catalyst for a deeper understanding of an overarching theme which seemed to control mankind for the last 500 years. That is, the banking system. For what we discuss today can be 95% proven through historical fact, the accepted narrative, and I will include as many references to actual events and people as possible to make this theory more graspable. But again, you must remember, this is only a theory, and until the veil is fully lifted, it becomes hard to say with certainty where the truth here begins and the plausible deniability ends.
Oh, man, will the veil ever be lifted? That's the real question. That's never going to happen. We all know that. I mean, it probably will. You never know. AI is going to come in and be like, hey, we going to change this. You know what I mean? Because the theory of banking, or not the theory of banking, but the understanding of banking is to get you to enslave you to a one world currency. Yeah, buddy, that's what they're aiming for. But better go get you some shekels.
But alas, that is what I will attempt to do in this video, to give you the whole theory. In scouring the interweb for the last 6 years or so, researching the most anomalous parts of our history, I have formed what you may call a theory on everything. And for this theory, I've reached deep into hundreds of different historical narratives, analyzing as much of the contrived history as possible. I then spent numerous months addressing this theory online, through numerous historical forums, and other places where more outlandish theories are also posted, looking to separate the important information here, which could create a theory that not only represents what many other researchers have discovered, but also adheres to my own discoveries on this matter as well. So let's dive deep into the theory of the banking system and how it has controlled mankind since the Enlightenment.
Look at that. What is this? Is this it's a snake. It's a snake with many heads. Look at this snake. Yes, sir. What do you do?
Again, just one more time before we get into this.
Yes.
This is all just a theory, but one that seems to tie together the most gaping holes in our understanding.
Man, we're over here talking about banking. Why we got the torture room coming up in this joint, man? They said this is called banking. Why is there a torture room? Look at this. They got a tube in this guy's mouth. Oh, and they over here dancing. They got somebody hanging up here. You know what I mean? Like, look at this. They look like Buddy about to catch that beheading right here. Look at this. They got him on the ground. Oh, wait, they got his foot in a vice. Oh, no, it's not a beheading. It's his foot. Oh, my Jesus. This is banking. Why is it going down like this? And why is there fluid coming out of this table? What are they doing to my mans up here, bro? This don't look too shabby. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Look at this. I'm just dancing away, having a good time, pulling the string. Oh, they pull out. That's what it is. 3 people are pulling this person to hold them up in the air. I don't know why you got a torch. And why the hell are you writing? What are you writing over here? What are you writing? Are you writing the situation? Are you singing? And what are you doing back here, buddy? You didn't think I saw you back here, did you? I caught you. You look like the head guy in charge. Jesus.
Of modern society. So let's get started. This story begins in the mid-1500s, when certain merchants were expelled from Spain and Portugal during the Inquisition, and they found refuge and eventually established a significant presence in Amsterdam. Over time, these merchants played a key role in shaping Europe's financial landscape, including the creation of the Amsterdam Stock Exchange in 1602. And the establishment of the Bank of Amsterdam in 1609.
The Bank of Amsterdam.
These institutions became the models for future financial systems. To quote the words of Nicholas Copernicus in 1517, and I quote, "The greatest and most forbidding mistake has to be when a ruler tries to make a profit from the minting of coins by introducing and circulating new coins with an inferior weight and fineness alongside the originals, and claiming that they are both of equal value."
Bruh, come on. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? Oh my goodness. Let him cook.
End quote. These words will become very important 100 years down the line. The so-called Kipper and Whipper period saw the highest inflation in the history of the Holy Roman Empire. The start of the 30 Years' War marked the beginning of a drastic...
Wait a minute, what?
This saw the highest inflation in the so-called Kipper and Whipper period.
Kipper and Whipper period. Kipper and Whipper. Anybody ever heard of Kipper and Whipper? I'm going to type in Kipper and Whipper, and we're going to continue and see what this is and figure this out later. Let's go.
Saw the highest inflation in the history of the Holy Roman Empire. The start of the 30 Years' War marked the beginning of a drastic deterioration in the quality of coins in Central Europe, which lasted until roughly 1623. The origin of this financial and economic crisis, however, is to be found some decades earlier. New coins were being minted by adding copper to the silver that was extracted from the original coin.
Real quick, let me show you what the Kipper and Whipper crisis. Kipper and Whipper crisis was a period of hyperinflation in the Holy Roman Empire during the early 17th century between 1618 and 1623. Isn't that strikingly odd? 1618 and 1623. If you go 300 years later, that's like the Great Depression was like 19. You know what? Let's just find it out real quick. When was the Great Depression? I want to make sure I got it right. It say 1929. Let's see, start and end. Great Depression 1929 and 1939. Then you got this right here. This Kipper and Whipper crisis is between 1618 and 1623. So like they're kind of close on the last 2 years, 1823, and then you had the Great Depression was 29 and 39. You know what I mean? It's like a 5-10 year off type thing, but still close into that range. And it says that the Kipper and Whipper crisis, this inflation was caused by the debasement of coins through various methods, including the use of scales to identify and remove high quality coins for reminting or remelting and repurposing. Sheesh.
The profit made by reminting coins in this way was so enticing that the silver content of the coins was further and further depleted until pure copper coins eventually came onto the market. Trade and transport picked up as a result of the increased volume of cash in circulation. Economic output rose, but the prices of individual products also went up rapidly. Those who had the opportunity to pass on the price rises to their customers did just that. Those receiving a fixed income, such as teachers or pensioners, no longer had enough money to live.
Whoa.
The Dutch East India Company.
Wait a minute. Did he just say what I think he said? Bruh. Let's hear that one more time. Here we go.
Opportunity to pass on the price rises to their customers did just that. Those receiving a fixed income, such as teachers or pensioners, no longer had enough money to live. The Dutch East India Company, VOC, was established in 1602 and was one of the most powerful and influential trading enterprises in history. Founded in the same year as the world's first stock exchange in Amsterdam, the VOC held a monopoly on the spice trade between Western Europe and Asia, dominating global commerce during the 17th century. In 1609,
dominating global commerce in the 16th century, 17th century. So they were already dominating global commerce back then, but we got to figure out exactly who these people were. We don't know that part yet, but well, we might dive into that later. We'll see. But right now, we're seeing another domination of global commerce in a whole different way, right? But here we go.
The VOC hired English sea captain and explorer Henry Hudson to find a northeast passage to Asia, a route that would allow ships to sail around Scandinavia and Russia. When Arctic ice blocked his path, Hudson abandoned the Northeast Passage and instead sailed westward in search of a Northwest Passage. During this voyage, he explored the northeastern coast of North America aboard the ship Half Moon. His journey led to landfalls at Newfoundland and Cape Cod, marking some of the earliest European explorations of those regions. By 1621, Dutch settlers had established colonies in what would later become the states of New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Connecticut, with smaller outposts in Pennsylvania and Rhode Island. This vast territory became known as New Netherland and was administered by the Dutch West India Company, WIC, founded in 1621. The WIC became the world's first multinational corporation.
So the Dutch came through. Strong Dutch presence, moderate Dutch presence, minimal influence, no preserve. So the Dutch, they came over here and they just started snagging and grabbing. Oh, nice. Okay, the Bahamas, if I'm not mistaken. I would assume this is the Bahamas. Okay, so the Caribbean for sure, and then the East Coast. The East Coast, and look at this. We had all different names back then, but let's keep going.
India Company, WIC, founded in 1621. The WIC became the world's first multinational corporation, backed by the financial infrastructure of a central bank and the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. It played a crucial role in managing Dutch colonial ventures in the Americas. The Dutch tulip bubble of the 1630s was a speculative frenzy that enriched Amsterdam's financial sector, and the wealth generated was later used to support William of Orange in his campaign to seize the English throne from his father-in-law, James II. With William's success, the stage was then set for the expansion of the financial institutions that had been pioneered in Amsterdam. By 1694, these systems, central banking, stock markets, and lending houses, were firmly established in London. In 1654, the first Jewish settlers arrived in New Netherland, marking the beginning of Jewish immigration to North America.
1654. All right. So 1654 is when they got here. So here we go.
By this time, Jewish merchants and investors had become significant stakeholders in both the Dutch East and West India companies, collectively owning more than a quarter of all their shares. Their involvement in these enterprises reflected the growing influence of Jewish communities in European commerce and finance. From there, England exported this new form of banking to all of its colonies, spreading its influence across the realm.
So that's how the influence gets spread. The influence gets spread via banking. That's how it gets spread. Yes, that's how the influence gets spread. It's all spread through banking. Always keep that in mind. So whenever you look at one place that's doing predominantly well, their influence is being spread through money, banking. Follow the money. The money is where everything is where everything starts. Whoever makes something that can be used all over the place. If you create something and the impact of what you create generates you billions or trillions of dollars, right? You have to understand that you have such an influence and such an impact that you could literally choose what type of currency or what type of money that people would use in order to continue to use your product. You could say, hey, I don't want to use this currency. I want you guys to pay me in this. If people choose to pay you in a different type of currency or it actually real money, and your creation or your product is extremely valuable, I mean, number one, somebody's going to probably try to come and turn your TV off. But number two, you would send a ripple effect of epic proportions. But let's continue.
This financial system, rooted in the experiments of Amsterdam and then refined in London, would go on to shape the modern world. On February 9th, 1674, Less than a century after the establishment of the Amsterdam Stock Exchange and the Amsterdam Central Bank, the Dutch Republic agreed to transfer the colony of New Amsterdam to England under the Treaty of Westminster. The city was then renamed New York in honor of the Duke of York.
So we started in Amsterdam, and then it got moved. So Amsterdam is like, I guess if we look at how Amsterdam is being ran, we'll probably understand how the rest of the world is trying to get ran. If you know anything about Amsterdam, it's free game over there.
Later, King James II. This transfer occurred shortly before the Glorious Revolution of 1688, which reshaped the political landscape of England and all of its colonies. In Europe, the financial center of gravity shifted from Amsterdam to London following the Glorious Revolution of 1688. The Bank of England, established in 1694, became a cornerstone of this new financial order. The banking dynasties, who had already tested their financial systems in Amsterdam, played a significant role in this transition. The Glorious Revolution also marked the end of the centuries-long struggle in England over absolutism and the divine right of kings, as power shifted to the Parliament. The City of London, a sovereign entity within England, emerged as the new hub of global finance, heavily influenced by all of these banking interests. The Edict of Expulsion of the Jews from England was issued on July 18, 1290 by King Edward I. Due to
July 18th, 1290. These people have been at it forever. Good Lord.
The Edict of Expulsion of the Jews from England was issued on July 18, 1290 by King Edward I, due to a vast money-clipping operation that was discovered, where there would be coins that were shaved, and then these coins were used at the same value that they were minted at. In 1664, the Edict of Expulsion was lifted by King Charles II. In 1666, just 2 years later, 1/3 of the City of London is destroyed in a fire that is now known as the Great Fire of London. The fire affected, oddly, almost exclusively, the medieval walled section of the town, where all of the oldest structures stood. The fire destroyed 3 notable buildings: the Guildhall, which was the administrative center for the City of London, St. Paul's Cathedral, which had stood since 1603 and was the religious center of London, and the Royal Exchange, which was the first stock exchange of London, built in 1571 and modeled after the ones that were established in Amsterdam and later Belgium.
Wow.
The Great Fire of London acted as a catalyst for the modernization of the city and further economic growth. The rebuilding efforts, combined with the emergence of new financial services, legal frameworks, and global trade connections, transformed London into the leading financial center of the world.
Wow.
Diving further into this theory, and again,
See, so right here, Frankfurt. All right, let's see.
all just a theory, but in 1743, in Frankfurt, Germany, Amschel Moses Bauer opened a, quote, counting house. Over the top of this shop, he placed a sign featuring the Roman eagle and a red shield. The shop then became known as the Red Shield Firm, or in German, Rothschild. When his son, Meyer Amschel Bauer, inherited this business, he decided to change the family name to Rothschild. Meyer Amschel Rothschild soon learned that loaning money to nations was a far more lucrative business than loaning money to individuals, as
Loaning money to nations is far more lucrative than loaning money to businesses. Jesus.
the loans to nations were secured by taxes. Meyer Rothschild then had 5 sons.
Wait.
Were secured by taxes than loaning money to individuals, as the loans to nations were secured by taxes.
That's why your taxes are so important. Your taxes are extremely important because that's what's paying back the loans. That's one of the things that are paying back the loans. When you get priced on every single item, that means that the currency that you're being loaned to use, you're getting taxed on that currency. That's what the tax is for. The tax is for using the currency, and therefore the people who put the currency for you to use is getting their cut back from taxing everyone on every single thing that they do. The income that they generate, the things that they buy, the property taxes that they, all of that is a tax to recoup the fact that you're using someone else's currency.
Meyer Rothschild then had 5 sons. He trained them all in the business and sent them to the major capitals across Europe. His first son, Amschel Meyer Jr., stayed in Frankfurt to tend the founding bank. His second son, Solomon, was sent to Vienna, Austria. His third son, Nathan, said to be the most clever, was sent to the city of London, the financial center of the realm. And his fourth son, Carl, went to Naples, Italy. His fifth son, Jacob, who later changed his name to James, went to Paris, France. And in 1785, Meyer Rothschild moved his entire family, excluding his sons in other countries, to a 5-story building in Frankfurt, Germany, which became known as the Green Shield Building.
Man, look at this photo. This is hella interesting. You got these dudes over here holding his fingers, his hand. Then you have him putting money behind someone's back. So basically, this dude is dealing with the traitor. And then you got him also putting money over here in this person's hat. And then he's got his foot in gold. So he's basically buried in gold. He's dumping money over here into this guy's pocket, who's just like a fat slob. Okay, then you see he got money over here on this side. These dudes, I don't know what they're doing, if they're doctors or if they're priests or whatever. And I can't see what's up here or whatever. And then what we got down here, can't really tell what's going on here. But as you can see, everything revolves around I see it now. Okay, so these people here are paying taxes into this guy's pot, and he's also getting money, and his money is going out of this pot into his pockets. Okay, there it goes. And then they're getting money from these people, and then this money is, oh my goodness, it's just a stream of, okay, yes, that's a very interesting thing to look at. I don't understand. I don't know what this says right here, but we'll find out.
The bottom floor was shared and occupied by the Schiff family, and they will come up very soon. Shortly after the French Revolution in 1799, the Rothschild family began lending money and gold to the British during the Napoleonic Wars. They supplied gold to the Duke of Wellington's troops, which helped prevent the army from defeat. Nathan Meyer Rothschild is said to have been the first person in London to learn of Wellington's victory. He was said to have used this information about Napoleon's defeat to spread misinformation about a Napoleonic victory across Europe, manipulating the markets of the London Stock Exchange into a selling frenzy. Rothschild and his family then bought up as much of these stocks that they could in the short period before the truth became known, that Napoleon had actually lost at Waterloo and that his reign had ended.
Oh, wow.
Thus securing the fortune of the Rothschild family. 1848 is often referred to as the year of revolutions because of the wave of uprisings and protests that swept across Europe, such as the February Revolution in France, the March Revolution in the German states, the Austrian uprisings, the Italian revolutions, the Danish Revolution, the revolution in Wallachia, now Romania. These revolutions were driven by widespread dissatisfaction with monarch rule, economic hardship, and demands for political reform, workers' rights, and national independence.
That's literally what we be talking about over here. That's literally it. I also went into a on one of my videos. You'll see in the thumbnail. If you go back, you'll see me title it, or not title, but in the thumbnail it says, "What is a technocracy?" Look up a technocracy. technocracy was something interesting. Go watch that video about what is a technocracy and get an understanding as to what it is, and look at one of these reasons why these people were revolting for a revolution. Understand what that is, and look at what a technocracy is, and then you're gonna kind of see like we're tipping right on that. We're tipping right on these fringes right here. We're right there.
Although the Communist Manifesto did not immediately spark these revolutions, it provided a theoretical framework for understanding and challenging the existing social and economic order. In 1848, Marx, along with his collaborator Friedrich Engels, published the Communist Manifesto. This pamphlet became one of the most influential political documents in history. It was commissioned by the Communist League, a group of radical activists. In 1917, the Rothschilds funded Lenin and Trotsky with over $20 million, equivalent to around $500 million today, through the Schiff banking family to overthrow the Russian Tsar in the Communist Revolution. Lenin's
one more time.
Communist Manifesto. His collaborator, Friedrich Engels, published the Communist Manifesto. This pamphlet became one of the most influential political documents in history. It was commissioned by the Communist League, a group of radical activists. In 1917, the Rothschilds funded Lenin and Trotsky with over $20 million, equivalent to around $500 million today, through the Schiff banking family to overthrow the Russian Tsar in the Communist Revolution.
Wow.
Lenin's real name was actually Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, and Trotsky's was Lev Brostine. Both were of Jewish heritage. Following the revolution, the Rothschilds privatized the Russian central bank, leading to significant control over the entire Russian economy.
Wow.
It is also noted in different articles that upwards of 80%...
Wait a minute.
Leading to revolution, the Rothschilds privatized the Russian central bank, leading to significant control over the entire Russian economy. It is also noted in different articles that upwards of 80% of the leadership class in post-revolutionary Russia was of a merchant or banking descent. Also in 1848, the first derivatives exchange was created in Chicago in the United States. It is the Chicago Board of Trade, CBOT, the oldest organized futures market still operating in the world. However, it merged with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in 2007 to become the CME Group. Chicago, thanks to
CME Group. I think that's why Yo Gotti changed his record label name.
The Midwestern grain and its strategic location was developing as a major center for the storage, sale, and distribution of grain. A group of merchants who owned the plantations and farms in the South and Midwest formed the CBOT originally as a centralized marketplace for exchanging grain. Forward contracts, so-called to-arrive contracts, were soon negotiated. These allowed farmers to lock in the price and later deliver the crop. Due to the seasonality of grain, Chicago storage facilities were unable to absorb the increase in supply that followed the harvest, but the same facilities were underused during the low season. Prices of grain were very volatile, and when fluctuations were too great, parties to the deal often backed out. Counterparty risks were also significant. Moreover, these contracts were not standardized in terms of quality or delivery time. One of the first improvements undertaken by the CBOT was to establish a department in 1858 which was in charge of classifying and certifying the grade of grain. It developed a system in which one of the grades was designated as the, quote, standard. This created confidence for buyers and laid the foundation for the market's development. By 1860, the push to reestablish centralized financial authority had taken on new urgency. During this time, key figures including prominent bankers in New York and Judah P. Benjamin, who would later become a leading figure in the Confederacy and a representative of Southern plantation interests, conspired to reshape the nation's financial system.
So that right there can give you a theory on why the Confederacy or the Confederate War was fought. You can look at it as, if you look it up on Google, it'll tell you because of slavery. But you can also look at it from this perspective and see that there was a push to be able to control their own currency, or be able to control their own money. They didn't want to use somebody else's money and bear interest on it and be controlled. They were fighting to use their own money.
The Civil War, which followed, was a pivotal moment in this effort. The conflict was not merely about slavery or states' rights, but also about consolidating economic power under the control of Northeastern financial elites. The war provided an opportunity to centralize the authority, to issue currency, and undo the decentralized system that had been established during Andrew Jackson's presidency. Control over the issuance of money grants immense power. It allows those who wield it to influence politicians, mayors, governors, and other key figures through things like bribery, coercion, and manipulation.
So, for those of you who don't know, when you look up why the Confederate War was fought, it's going to tell you slavery. It's going to say slavery, slavery. Here's a theory. Here's a theory on why the Confederate War was fought. And when you see a Confederate flag, here's a different perspective you can have on it when you see it. Let's hear it one more time.
Or states' rights, but also about including prominent bankers in New York and Judah P. Benjamin, who would later become a leading figure in the Confederacy and a representative of Southern plantation interests, conspired to reshape the nation's financial system. The Civil War, which followed, was a pivotal moment in this effort. The conflict was not merely about slavery or states' rights, but also about consolidating economic power under the control of Northeastern financial elites. The war provided an opportunity to centralize the authority, to issue currency, and undo the decentralized system that had been established during Andrew Jackson's presidency.
Yeah, I'm for a brief second, I'll leave that right there real quick.
Control over the issuance of money grants immense power. It allows those who wield it to influence politicians, mayors, governors, and other key figures through things like bribery, coercion, and manipulation. This power is magnified when those in positions of authority are driven by self-interest rather than moral principle. After the Civil War, with the Union's victory and the centralization of power in the Northeast, the remaining opposition to a centralized banking system was systematically marginalized. Around the same time, similar financial consolidation was occurring in Europe, for example, with the Bank of Hamburg evolving into Germany's central bank. These developments reflect a broader pattern of financial centralization and control that has gone on to shape modern economic systems. Frederick A.
Hey, now looking at this picture, just look at this photo. Just look at this. Now, I don't know what your municipality looks like if you have ever walked into a courthouse. You've ever walked into a courthouse before and kind of looked at the way the place looked? I particularly know one courthouse I've been into, and it looks strikingly similar to this place right here. You can kind of like see that they probably, they remodernized it to an extent, but not very much. You know what I mean? Instead of having these, you probably got like glass or a wall with like glass here or a wall with glass across this part instead of these bars. I mean, you can see the striking similarity on how a bank is structured, how this bank looks, or how a bank structure looks versus how a court building looks. I don't know all municipalities or how they court buildings look on the inside, but for the ones I've been in, there's a striking similarity on how these look.
Delano's father, Warren Delano Jr., was an American merchant who amassed a significant fortune by smuggling illegal opium into China. He was also the maternal grandfather of U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
But he was on that opium.
Warren Delano's wealth came from this smuggling into Canton. There was a massive demand in Europe for Chinese luxury goods, such as silk, tea, porcelain, and furniture. However, Chinese demand for European goods was relatively weak, which led to a large trade deficit for European nations. To address this imbalance, foreign traders like Scottish merchant William Jardine of Jardine Matheson turned to opium smuggling as a way to pay for Chinese goods. The massive influx led to widespread addiction across China and exacerbated the trade deficit, resulting in the First Opium War of 1840 through 1843. The war ended with China's defeat, resulting in the loss of control over China's major ports. This period became known in Chinese history as the Century of Humiliation, during which Western powers seized control of Chinese ports and commerce. These struggles ultimately contributed to the collapse of the last dynasty in 1911.
So, when you want to sit here and talk about China in today's world, they ain't forgot. They ain't forgot. Did you hear what they call that? They call that an embarrassment. He was humiliating. And now you see China is big on manufacturing. There's a reason for why they are so big on manufacturing. And now, you're putting tariffs on them and stuff like that. Again, I'm not picking sides or anything, but what I'm saying is get an understanding of the history behind it to see why things are the way they are. This has been going on forever.
In parallel with upheavals in Europe, such as the attempted coup by the Bolsheviks in Germany, we have the 19th century British Empire dominating the lucrative but controversial opium trade in China. Queen Victoria granted the Sassoon family, a prominent Jewish merchant dynasty, a monopoly on this trade through the British East India Company. The Sassoons, originally from Baghdad, amassed immense wealth by exporting opium grown in British India to China, where it caused widespread addiction and social devastation. This led to both of the opium wars.
So the opium trade back then was big business, but it was destroying people.
While the Sassoons held this monopoly, American firms like Jardine Matheson and Russell & Company often handled the transportation. These subcontractors may have been used to distance the British Crown from the trade's negative reputation. Russell & Company, for example, had ties to the Skull and Bones Society, an elite group at Yale University, reflecting the interconnectedness of all of this trade and power. The Sassoons deposited their profits into the Rothschild banks, further aligning their fortunes with the Rothschilds, one of Europe's most influential banking dynasties. The two families frequently intermarried, strengthening their financial and social ties.
The families frequently intermarried. They kept the wealth amongst each other. They just intertwined the wealth. That's all they did. They intertwined the wealth. That's it. Knowing that, then you can understand why the family law system is so big, because of the simple fact that if these people knew that if we kept the marriage in between our families, we know that a divorce and the fighting over family custody will be a huge wealth destroyer. They know, and this proves it more than anything. Theory.
Queen Victoria, meanwhile, benefited indirectly through taxes and royal shares of all of the trade profits. Rumors also circulated about Victoria's, quote, close relationship with Benjamin Disraeli, a Jewish prime minister. But I digress. From 1865 onward, the CBOT in Chicago made 3 important changes to the structure of the trading market. First, it established defined areas specifically for futures contracts on agricultural commodities. Second, contracts were standardized in terms of quality, quantity, and time and place of delivery. This change was later accompanied by the introduction of a clearinghouse, which reduced the counterparty risk that had plagued, as some financial economists argue, the OTC trading. The third change was the introduction of a margining system. Until the beginning of the 20th century, regulation was left to state legislation, self-regulation, and decisions by state and federal courts. It was only in 1916, after several attempts to regulate futures exchanges at the federal level, that the first federal act, the Cotton Futures Act, entered into force. The continual changes to its own regulations made by the CBOT were reactions to court cases to make trading acceptable in the eyes of state and federal legislators and to ensure the performance of the contracts that were traded on its premises. In 1888, what a year, the Rothschilds began to branch out into the weapons manufacturing business. The Maxim Nordenfeldt Guns and Ammunition Company was the result of a takeover by Hiram Maxim of Thorsten Nordenfeldt's Nordenfeldt Guns and Ammunition Company, which occurred in 1888. Rothschild issued 1.9 million pounds, equivalent to roughly 265 million pounds today, to finance this merger. Nathan Rothschild then retained a substantial shareholding in the new Maxim Nordenfeldt Company and exerted his direct influence over its management. The company then became part of the Barrow Shipbuilding Company, which was taken over by Vickers, Sons and Company in 1897 to form Vickers, Sons and Maxim. This gave Vickers a complete naval shipbuilding, engineering, and armaments capability. In 1911, the company further expanded into aircraft manufacturing and opened a flying school. They expanded even further into electrical and railway manufacturing, and by 1928, they also acquired an interest in the submarine. Vickers, Son, and Maxim, later known as Vickers Limited, became known as the most significant arms manufacturer during World War I, producing a vast quantity of the weapons and ammunition for the British Empire and its allies. The company played a crucial role in supplying the war effort, particularly with its iconic Vickers machine gun, which became a staple of the British Empire.
That's exactly what I thought. They got into the arms, the arms and weapons dealings, and when they got into that, anytime a war broke out, they supplied both sides of the war. Wow, boy. My God, these people have made a stupid amount of money monopolizing, but capitalizing off of these major scenarios that happened.
By the year 1916, it can all but be established that Germany was winning World War I. At this time, the United States had not yet entered the war. Then on April 4th, 1917, the U.S. entered World War I, with the justification being the sinking of an American ship by German U-boats that occurred the whole way back in May of 1915. What was not mentioned is that the American ship that was sunk was owned by J.P. Morgan, and it had actually been filled with hundreds of thousands of rounds of ammunition.
Wow.
So it essentially exploded on contact. 1 year after the formation of the U.S. Central Bank in 1913, Germany entered World War I and began its invasion of France. After 3 years of intense, Germany poised to win in a matter of months. At this critical moment, J.P. Morgan having earned around $80 billion adjusted for inflation.
$80 billion back in the early 1900s, bro. 80 billion back in the 19th. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Commissions from selling war bonds feared the massive liquidity that had made him the most powerful financier on the planet would soon dry up. Morgan had his own financial liabilities as well.
What?
He had personally lent about $30 billion adjusted during the war, and if Germany won, there was a significant risk he would never see his loans repaid. The sinking of JP Morgan,
if Germany
he would never see his Germany won, there was a significant risk he would never see his loans repaid.
Oh.
The sinking of JP Morgan's ship and entry into the war appeared to be something that was planned. On May 7th, 1915, the German U-boat U-20 torpedoed and sank JP Morgan's ship, a British cruise liner traveling in 1915. The German U-boat U-20 torpedoed and sank JP
so the Germans was on their neck.
A British cruise liner traveling from New York to Liverpool. Of the 1,959 people on board, over 1,100 perished. This tragic event was used as the key justification for the United States entering the war almost 2 years later, on April 6th, 1917.
Okay, so there we go. That's why they entered the war. That's why. This is why they entered the war. Okay. Man, this is interesting. This is really hellified interesting to me. Okay, so if you really pay attention to what's going on, I'm going to have to do a review over another documentary for the next 3 days. I have to do it because all of this will make a hell of a lot of sense, and you can connect the dots. You can connect the dots. All right, so this dude right here, this guy, he was the most powerful financier in the world, but because he had lent out like 30 billion adjusted dollars or whatever, if Germany won, then there was a high chance he wasn't seeing that money back. He wasn't getting that money back, right? So he sent off a bunch of ammunition and weapons onto a boat. It got blown up. So when that got blown up, I'm pretty sure he was nervous. He was like, shit. He was like, shit, because that was going to the U.S. for the U.S. to use. And then
the planet would soon dry up.
And then what ends up happening was there was something, I'm going to find out again what I wasn't looking at, that there's a reason why the U.S. entered the war. They're saying U.S. entered the war because of ports or whatever that were being infiltrated. Is not true. Because 2 years after his situation happened, U.S. entered the war.
Morgan had his...
And which would explain why the U.S. is a military powerhouse. This is my opinion on why the U.S. is a military powerhouse, because of this particular situation in time.
His own financial liabilities as well. He had personally lent about $30 billion adjusted during the war. And if Germany won, there was a significant risk he would never see his loans repaid. The sinking of JP Morgan's ship and entry into the war appeared to be something that was planned.
So sinking his ship that was supposed to help him enter the war, but it was something that was planned.
On May 7th, 1915, the German U-boat U-20 torpedoed and sank JP Morgan's ship, a British cruise liner traveling from New York to Liverpool. Of the 1,959 people on board, over 1,100 perished. This tragic event was used as the key justification for the United States entering the war almost 2 years later, on April 6th, 1917.
So basically they realized that they could not get any weapons over there. They was like, we can't get y'all any weapons over there. So they was like, we got to get the U.S. to get in the war. And my assumption, I will find out in a minute if this is true or not, they had to give the U.S. a hell of a lot of weapons to fight this war, because they tried to ship them from New York to Liverpool, but the Germans blew it up. So now they was like, all right, we can't get nothing over there. So therefore, we're just going to have to get the U.S. to enter this war. In my opinion, I think that's what this situation, because remember that guy's fortune, the biggest financier in the world, had $30 billion in. If Germans won, he wasn't going to see that money back. The biggest financier in the world at that time. If Germany won, he wasn't going to see that money back. So he had to protect his money. And this is what he was doing.
While hundreds of thousands of American lives were lost during the war, J.P. Morgan, acting as the U.S. agent for the Rothschilds banking family, ensured that his financial interests were protected.
See?
The continuation of the war enabled Morgan to secure repayment for his enormous debt.
There it is. There it is right there. That's what this was about. It was about him getting repayment for that $30 billion he loaned out. He was like, I cannot lose this. I cannot lose this. So we're watching, again, this is all theory, but we're watching these countries go to war, but these countries are going to war to protect this financer's freaking hellified interest in his investments. That's what it's protecting. You thinking countries are going to war, but they're going to war because Germany was going to war for a reason. And Germany knew that if we can,
The German nation ultimately lost the war, and the Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, imposed harsh penalties on the country, crippling its economy and devastating its people.
So 1919, the Treaty of Versailles devastated Germany, devastated their country, crippled their economy because they almost took over the biggest. They almost basically took over. They were that close from taking over the Germans. So that's what that was. 1919, Treaty of Versailles is, if you know anything about Germany, we're getting close to a particular person in history in Germany. But 1919, they lost. The Treaty of Versailles came in and crippled and destroyed Germany's economy. And yes, that's because of that financier and J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan was fighting to win that war.
Treaty also set the stage for the rise of extremism in Germany. Meanwhile, in the United States, populist politician Huey Long was gaining traction as a potential presidential candidate for the 1936 election. Long, known for his anti-war stance and criticism of President FDR, positioned himself as a challenger to FDR's policies. However, Long's political ambitions were cut short when he was assassinated in 1935 by Karl Weiss, an event that remained shrouded in controversy.
Yep.
Long's death removed a significant obstacle to FDR's re-election and the continuation of his administration's pro-Semitic policies.
And a continuation of his Okay, all right. Okay, he was in the way and he was a big issue. This dude was a big deal. He was a big deal. And who was it? Who was the president?
And the continuation of his administration obstacle to FDR.
Long's
death removed a significant obstacle to
So he was in FDR's way. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He was in FDR's way into potentially winning again. And FDR was pro the word that they said. So they couldn't have that. And they had to get him out the way because he had very big influence. He had strong influence on anti-war reasons, but he probably knew the deeper reason of why the wars were happening.
FDR's re-election and the continuation of his administration's pro-Semitic policy. FDR's administration, with its ties to influential financial institutions such as his uncle, Frederick A. Delano, who was a founding member of the Federal Reserve, played a key role in shaping U.S. economic and foreign policy during the interwar period. The attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, was a pivotal moment in World War II. drawing the United States into the conflict.
Okay, wait, let me see that again.
Economic and foreign policy reserve played a key role in shaping U.S. economic and foreign policy during the interwar period. The attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, was a pivotal moment in World War II, drawing the United States into the conflict. However, there has been significant debate and speculation over whether the United States had a prior knowledge of the attack. Evidence suggests that American intelligence had prior knowledge of an impending Japanese strike. For example, intercepted communications and decoded messages hinted at Japan's intentions. One such piece of evidence comes from former Chief Warrant Officer Ralph T. Briggs, a radio intercept operator stationed in Maryland in 1941. In an interview that was later declassified by the National Security Agency, Briggs recounted intercepting a coded message from Japan in early December 1941.
What'd it say?
The message, which said Higashi no Kaziyam, east wind rain, was understood to signify a break in diplomatic relations with the United States. This, along with other intelligence of the time, seems to be proof that the United States had at least partial forewarning of an impending Japanese aggression.
Okay.
It is speculated that Roosevelt's administration, aware of Japan's growing desperation due to economic sanctions and the oil embargo, allowed the attack to occur to galvanize public support for entering the war. But again, this is all just a theory. Prior to Pearl Harbor, American public opinion was overwhelmingly against involvement in World War II. For example, polls from 1940 and 1941 consistently show that a majority of Americans opposed entering the conflict, with only a small percentage supporting actions that might provoke Germany or Japan. Prescott Bush, the father
that might provoke Germany or Japan. What year are we in? So we're in 1941. We skipped over the 30s in the Great Depression. We went from 1919 and we skipped 20s and 30s. We jumped 20 years ahead. So we missed a lot. There's a lot missing in the 20s and 30s. I thought they were going to tap into that because I was really interested in seeing that particular part of history. Oh, man. Okay. And they didn't want to go to war. And if
only a small percentage supporting actions that might provoke Germany or Japan. Prescott Bush, the father and grandfather of two future U.S. presidents, had business interests in Germany that suffered after the outbreak of the Second World War. On October 20th, 1942, the United States government seized the assets of the Union Banking Corporation. The shares of this bank were owned by Prescott Bush, E. Roland Harriman, and a couple of leading members of the Nazi Party.
Wow.
Under the Trading with the Enemy Act, the government took control of the Union Banking Corporation, a company that had been managed by Prescott Bush and his father-in-law, George Herbert Walker. The Union Banking Corporation was a New York investment bank incorporated in 1924. The now former U.S. Senator Prescott Bush was the founding member. On July 22nd, 1946, just 10 months after the end of World War II, the King David Hotel in Jerusalem was bombed by the Jewish Irgun terrorist group, led by Menahem Begin. Former U.S. Senator Prescott Bush was the founding member. On July 22nd, 1946.
Okay, so now we're in the 40s. They skipped over the 20s and the 30s. That's my thing. Like, why did you skip the 20s and the 30s? That was such a pivotal, like that was some, oh man. Okay, so right now we're in the 20s. We skipped the 20s, we skipped the 30s. We're in the 40s now. And, okay, so Prescott Bush had something going on with Germany?
10 months after the end of World War II, the King David Hotel in Jerusalem was bombed by the Jewish Irgun terrorist group, led by Menahem Begin, who would later become the Prime Minister of Israel. At this time, the British Empire still controlled the region known as Palestine, and a Jewish nationalist group sought to establish the Jewish state in that area. To achieve this goal, Jewish militant organizations operated terrorist cells within British-controlled Palestine, culminating in the King David Hotel attack, which killed 91 people. The bombing was intended to pressure the already weakened British Empire to withdraw from Palestine, paving the way for the creation of the Jewish state. The attack significantly influenced British policy, leading to their decision to withdraw from Palestine in 1947. This withdrawal set the stage for the United Nations Partition Plan, which proposed dividing Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states. In 1948, the State of Israel was officially established. In 1949, the American Zionist Council, AZC, was founded. Its primary function was to channel funds and other resources from Israel to members of the U.S. Congress, effectively bribing them to support pro-Zionist, pro-Israel legislation.
That was their purpose?
Its primary American Zionist Council, AZC, was founded. Its primary function was to channel funds and other resources from Israel to members of the U.S. Congress, effectively bribing them to support pro-Zionist, pro-Israel legislation. For example, for 5 years, the AZC operated as a tax-exempt organization, avoiding scrutiny over its financial activities. However, it eventually faced pressure from Congress to disclose the sources of its funding and to register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which requires organizations acting on behalf of foreign governments to report their activities and finances. President Kennedy's brother, Robert F. Kennedy, served as Attorney General and spearheaded a vigorous campaign through the Department of Justice to dismantle organized crime. The Mafia, which had long-standing connections to bankers, using them as their accountants, became a central focus of RFK's effort. This crackdown on organized crime was part of a broader initiative by the Kennedy administration to tackle corruption and disrupt criminal networks that had deeply infiltrated and influenced American society and institutions, such as the FBI and the CIA. On October 23, 1963, Robert F. Kennedy, then serving as Attorney General, ordered a letter to be sent to the American Zionist Council, demanding that their organization register as a foreign agent under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. This move was part of the Kennedy administration's broader effort to increase transparency and to curb foreign influence. Just 6 weeks later, the AZC was completely dissolved, and all of its functions and activities were taken over by the American Israel Public Affairs Committee.
Okay.
Wait.
So the AZC was dismantled and it was taken over by the Israel Public Affairs Council. However, what the AZC was doing was it was taking all of the resources from Israel and using it to bribe Congress.
1965 is
allegedly. These are all theories.
Israel is theorized to have infiltrated and stole over 600 pounds of highly enriched uranium from the Nuclear Materials and Equipment Corporation, NUMEC, in Apollo and Parks County, Pennsylvania. This is known as the Apollo Affair. The stolen material formed the foundation of Israel's nuclear weapons program, marking a significant turning point in the development of its military capabilities and a turning point in the history of mankind. Also, in 1965, Congress passed the Hart-Celler Act, which fundamentally altered U.S. immigration for the first time in over 175 years. This act abolished the national origins quota system, which had favored immigrants from Western Europe. This shift dramatically changed the demographic makeup of the United States, reducing the percentage of the population with Western European ancestry from over 90% to 40% and declining rapidly over the decades that followed. It also marked a turning point in American history and could be described as the fatal bullet of the nation's identity.
Wait.
The over dramatically changed which had favored immigrants from Western Europe. This shift dramatically changed the demographic makeup of the United States.
So we have the immigration coming in. So 1900 to 2014 plus Census Bureau projection to 2060. Wow. Census Bureau, the 2023 immigrant share of the U.S. population will hit its highest level in U.S. history. 14.8% continues to rise. Oh, wow.
Reducing the percentage of the population with Western European ancestry from over 90% to 40% and declining rapidly over the...
From 90% to... I'm trying to understand this chart. So number of immigrants. Immigrants were here. These were immigrants from 1970. So 1970 to 1980, there was a big leap. But then 2020 to 2030 is a 10%. So once we got into the 2000s, it took off. So 1990 to 2000 was a huge...
the decades that followed. It also marked a turning point in American history and could be described as the fatal bullet of the nation's identity. Ironically, when this bill was passed, Lyndon B. Johnson, who had been JFK's vice president, downplayed its significance, stating that the bill was, quote, not a revolutionary bill and that it, quote, does not affect the lives of millions. This assessment would prove to be vastly understated, as the long-term effects of the Hart-Celler Act continue to shape the United States to this day. On self does not affect the lives of the president, downplayed its significance, stating that the bill was, quote, not a revolutionary bill and that it, quote, does not affect the lives of millions. This assessment would prove to be vastly understated.
Thank you, Graham. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get... So this bill, what's this bill that was passed?
40% and declining rapidly over the decades that followed. It also marked a turning point in American history and could be described as the fatal bullet of the nation's identity. Ironically, when this bill was passed, Lyndon B. Johnson, who had been JFK's vice president, downplayed its significance, stating that the bill was, quote, not a revolutionary bill and that it, quote, does not affect the lives of millions. This assessment would prove to be vastly understated, as the long-term effects of the Hart-Celler Act continue to shape the United States to this day.
On April 4th, 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated in his hotel room in Memphis, Tennessee. This assassination would go on to become a key and core piece to the new foundational myth of America, created after World War II. It was about discarding the old. Thomas Jefferson, the evil Andrew Jackson, who had waged war against the banks, but most importantly, it was a national shift towards Zionism, which became prevalent amongst the ruling class. This new foundational myth was essential, as the goal seemed to be to eradicate and replace the entire living population of the U.S. with non-Western European groups. 2 months later, on June 6, 1968, John F.
Whoa. What?
Essential, as the goal seemed to be to eradicate and replace the entire living population of the U.S. with non-Western European groups.
Non-Western European groups. Wow. Wow. For this to be a theory, that is so prevalent.
2 months later, on June 6, 1968, John F. Kennedy's brother, Robert F. Kennedy, is assassinated in Los Angeles by an Israeli citizen named Sirhan Bashari Sirhan. The investigations into the mafia by RFK, the CIA, the FBI, and the attempts to get Israeli organizations to register under the Foreign Act all ceased the moment RFK was assassinated. From this moment forward, the U.S. really appears to become nothing more than an economic zone controlled by certain banking interests. The U.S. dollar would see rapid devaluation as money was printed to the tune of hundreds of trillions to fund these different wars overseas.
Man, let's read this. The bold effort the present central bank had made to control the government are but premonitions of fate that await the American people should they be deluded into a perpetuation of this institution or the establishment of another like it.
Moment forward, the U.S. really appears to become nothing more than an economic zone controlled by certain banking interests. The U.S. dollar would see rapid devaluation as money was printed to the tune of hundreds of trillions to fund these different wars overseas.
But in
the country is headed toward a single and splendid government.
the end, that is only a theory.
Overseas.
But in the end, that is only a theory of banking. I'd love to hear your thought.
Let's read this then. Let's go ahead and read what this says. The country is headed toward a single and splendid government of an aristocracy founded on banking institution and moneyed incorporation. And if this tendency continues, it will be the end of freedom and democracy. The few will be ruling. I hope we shall crush it in its birth. In its birth, the aristocracy of our moneyed corporations, which dare already to challenge our government to trial and bid defiance to the laws of our country. I sincerely believe that banking establishments are more dangerous than standing armies. What? They've been trying to tell us this, yo. I have to use this quote for the next 3 days I stream, because then I have the perfect video to go over. Oh, I have to do it now. I have to do it. Good Lord. Thomas Jefferson. Shout out to you. Yo, that theory hold some heavy freaking weight. Shout out to you for making that video right there, man. Golly. I want to go on to the AI portion of the show, but unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'm on a time crunch right now. I got a little bit of time. It'll be a short segment. I'll make it a sweet, short, straight to the point segment for the AI portion of the show. But man, that theory of how banking works, I mean, for it to be a theory, like I always say, it has some crazy, striking, simple similarities into it. So it's hard to call it just a theory, but you got to say a theory to, I guess, just to protect yourself at the end of the day. But with that being said, man, I have a video that I need to show for the next 3 days, which will actually tie up that 1920 to 1940 portion that was missing. It'll give light to the 1920 to 1940 portion that was missing in another country. And you could clearly use this quote right here, this final quote. You could like use, dang it. Let me get this quote pulled up. But if when I show this video, it's going to take me like 3 or 4 days it's going to take me a while to cover it, because it could take me like 7 days if I break it up into like segments. But what I'm saying is, using the video that I'm referring to, if I show that video could summarize this quote right here. This quote right here could be summarized into the 1920s to 1940s. The period on this video that was missing, because it went from 1919, then it jumped and skipped all the way to 1940, 1941. There was something in those 20s and 30s that was so intricate that was missing. I would say I think I have the puzzle piece or the dots to connect that would, one, explain that 20-year period, and also use this quote right here it will explain this quote from Thomas Jefferson, but this quote will be explained. This quote by Thomas Jefferson will be explained coming from another country who potentially, by theory, saw the same thing. So, oh man, this got me excited to tie those two together. And when I tie them together, I'm probably gonna catch hell, but oh well. I mean, what else is there to do? I mean, you got to learn how to connect the dots and teach people something, and this will be a good teaching lesson. This right here, oh my goodness, I can't wait till I'm able to put these together. From the 20s to 40s, that whole 20-year period missing, I can show you and prove to you all the way from a different country this quote by Thomas Jefferson basically coming to life, because somebody else saw this quote in another part of the world. Somebody else saw it, and it's not just one person. A lot of people saw this quote, but I can top the dots and show it to. Oh my goodness, yes. Hey, I got to give another round of applause to this video. That was great. That was fantastic. That was so good. All right, we're gonna go to the AI portion of the show. I'm just gonna do this one video, this one link or whatever, this one tab that I have for it, because I didn't think it was gonna take that long in the economy portion of the show. But Jesus, man, that was really good. So let's just go ahead and get into it, because I'm kind of pressed for time at the end. But let's go ahead and get straight into it. So we got this right here. I'm gonna drop that and pull that up right here, and we're gonna take a look at the Fivver CEO is talking about AI and how it's going to basically change for its employees. So Fivver CEO right here, as you can see, he told his employees, and I changed my banner, yes. Fivver CEO told employees, AI is coming for your jobs. It's coming for mine too. This is a wake-up call. Good Lord. That's a wake-up call. Wake up call. He's not playing. Yes, wake up call. Fivver CEO Mika Kaufman recently warned that AI will affect most jobs, including his own. In an internal email shared publicly, he told employees that no profession is safe and emphasized the need to master new tools to stay relevant. Kaufman recommended role-specific AI tools like Cursor for programmers and Legora for lawyers, stressing that relying on traditional tools like Google is no longer enough. He also highlighted that prompt engineering and AI integration are now essential skills. Okay. His message received mixed reactions, with some praising his honesty and others feeling it was alarmist and ignored the difficulties of quickly adapting. Hey, he's sounding the alarm for sure. He's sounding the alarm. So you got to respect that. He's sounding the alarm. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have right here. Here's the email. Hey team, I always believe in radical candor and despise those who sugarcoat reality to avoid stating the unpleasant truth. The very basis for radical candor is care. You care enough about your friends and colleagues to tell them the truth because you want them to be able to understand it, grow, and succeed. So here is an unpleasant truth. AI is coming for your jobs. Heck, it's coming for mine too. This is a wake-up call. It does not matter if you're a programmer, designer, product manager, data scientist, lawyer, custom rep support, salesperson, or a finance person. AI is coming for you. You must understand what was once considered easy task will no longer exist. What was considered hard task will be the new easy, and what was considered impossible task will be the new hard. If you do not become an exceptional talent at what you do, a master, you will face the need for a career change in a matter of months. I am not trying to scare you. I am not talking about your job at Fivver. I am talking about your ability to stay in your profession in the industry. Are we all doomed? Not all of us, but those who will not wake up and understand the new reality fast are fortunately doomed. What can we do? First of all, take a moment and let this sink in. Drink a glass of water. Scream hard in front of the mirror if it helps you. Now relax. Panic hasn't solved problems for anyone. Let's talk about what would help you become an exceptional talent in your field. Study, research, and master the AI latest solutions in your field. Try multiple solutions and figure out what gives you superpowers. By superpowers, I mean the ability to generate more outcomes per unit of time with better quality per delivery. Programmers, code cursor. Customer support, tickets, Intercom, Fin, and Centisum. Lawyers, contracts, Lexi Plus, AI Lagore, etc. Find the most knowledgeable people on our team who can help you become more familiar with the latest and greatest in AI. Time is the most valuable asset we have. If we're working like it's 2024, you're doing it wrong. You are expected and needed to do more, faster, and more efficiently now. Become a prompt engineer. Google is dead. LLM and Gen AI are the new basics, and if you are not using them as experts, your value will decrease before you know what hits you. Get involved in making the organization more efficient using AI tools and technology. It does not make sense to hire more people before we have learned how to do more with what we have. Understand the company strategy well and contribute to helping it achieve its goals. Don't wait to be invited to a meeting where we ask each participant for ideas. There will be no such meeting. Instead, pitch your ideas proactively. Stop waiting for the world or your place of work to hand you opportunities to learn and grow. Create those opportunities yourself. I vow to help anyone who wants to help themselves. If you don't like what I wrote, if you think I'm full of shit or just an asshole who's trying to scare you, be my guest and disregard this message. I love you all and wish you nothing but good things, but I honestly don't think that a promising professional future awaits you if you disregard this reality. If, on the other hand, you understand deep inside I am right and want all of us to be on the winning side of history, join me in a conversation about where we go from here as a company and as individual professionals. We have a magnificent company and a bright future ahead of us. We just need to wake up to understand that it won't be pretty or easy. It will be hard and demanding, but damn well worth it. This message is food for thought. I have asked Shelly to free up time on my schedule in the next few weeks so that those of you who wish to sit with me and discuss our future can do so. I look forward to seeing you. Sincerely, Micah. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is a good place to end this show. Thank you all for tuning in for today's show. Hopefully you learned a lot, and I'm actually utterly surprised that the AI portion of the show was precise, concise, and straight to the point and delivered a powerful message, just like the message that was delivered powerfully in the economic portion of the show. With that, love y'all. Take care. Take care of each other. Keep learning. Keep grinding. AI is the future. Know your history. Know where we're going. And understand AI is the new wave. I'll catch y'all later. We'll be back tomorrow on our next show. Peace.
It's big R, baby, I'm obsolete. Pockets chunky like cottage cheese. Real nigga, I just gotta be. Smoking weed that don't gotta see. Used to be a hustler prodigy. I love when people say they proud of me. I'm eating good, smoking broccoli. Taking over blocks like Monopoly. Only fuck the ones that's my policy. Most of these hoes trying to cause a scene. Like niggas mad they not on the team. See, I got bread, then buy the dream. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. In the booth. Dame Jordan with the bitches, got 6 rings. Smoke till my bitches split screen. The rest with pain pills and sipping lean. Riding dirty, but I'm extra clean. Lyrics nice, but I'm extra mean. All-star, heavyweight, like Wolverine. The bitch like TIP. It's hard, baby, like DIG. Acronym like KRT. The game on live, and I got the key like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on live, and I got the key like Jay-Z. Don't wake up nigga in house in the booth, playing beats. The game on live, and I got the key like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on live, and I got the key like Jay-Z. Don't wake up nigga in house in the booth, playing beats. In the beats like RP, no hard shit where your artery. Cutting up, who sharpens me? Rolling up accordingly. Pulling hoes, no sorcery. Rapping like y'all forcing me. If I ain't right, then it's forgery. Nigga selling to the rock like a Flores beat. Lyrical monster on the Lord of Beats. Text nigga, my bitch Georgia Peach. Pimp tight nigga, I do more than cheat. Cold like D-Wade, I ignore the heat. Bitch, I'm on way, hit the short police. Money jumping like a nigga on the sneeze. Cause the bad James get me on the beat. Bitch, I'm always winning like what's the fee? The game on live, yeah, I got the key like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing.